All right, what's up, guys? Cousin, what did we call you? Cousin Thicc, Thicc. You got that name from being on a live stream with me a couple years back. I think it was like a bunch of 12-year-olds who were on there calling you Cousin Thicc or something like that. But anyway, guys, Cousin Thicc, believe it or not, is on her way to a funeral. And that's some interesting attire for a funeral. I don't know. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is that an acceptable attire for a funeral? I don't know if it is, but hey, it works for me. I don't know.
It's a summer funeral.
Now you said, who is this? Your aunt, was it?
Great aunt.
Great aunt. But you did say she was a hippie.
Yes.
So big time stoner, probably approves of the outfit.
Exactly.
Okay. Have a good day.
You
Enjoy
too.
your funeral. Actually, nobody enjoys funerals. It's going to be sad.
It's a celebration of life.
It's a celebration of life. That is always good to have Cousin Thicc on the podcast. Thank you very much. So what are we doing here? Oh, we're going to start off here, guys, with the Mets taking on the Nationals, and that's going to be a 7:05 p.m. Eastern start time. The Washington Nationals are minus $1.25. Totals 9, juice to the over. And if you like the Mets in an upset on the road here, they're plus 105 for some money line cash. Now, New York's also minus 190, catching the 1.5 on the run line. Joey Lucchese's on the bump here for New York. Eric Fetty for Washington. Now, guys, we're 2-0 in our last 2 Major League Baseball tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also 4-1 in our last 5 Major League Baseball tier package picks in that very same category. So if you want to see which one of these free picks on my YouTube channel that I'm actually betting on personally, you got to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, we currently have over 1,075 members who are signed up and active on that page. And once again, guys, if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, when it comes to this game here, despite Washington's current 4-game winning streak, they're actually still 5 games below 500 for the season. The Nats have also struggled in divisional play as well. They won just 5 out of 12 divisional games at Nationals Park. They're also just 9-13 against the NL East overall for the season. This Washington lineup is dead last in the majors in home scoring, and they're averaging just 3.3 runs a game on their home field. They're taking on a first-place Mets club who won 3 out of their last 4. They also went 8-3 straight up in their last 11. The Mets have also done quite well in divisional play as well. They're 13-8 straight up against their divisional opponents, and they're leading the majors in fewest hits allowed per game. This New York pitching staff also allows just 3.4 runs per contest. Now, total-wise, the Mets are 12-9 to the under in their divisional contests. Washington is 26-9 to the under as the home team. Not a whole lot of scoring at Nationals Park this year. I'm going to lean toward the New York Mets plus 105 and the under 9 runs. Next ball game, A's versus the Yankees, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are minus 145 with the total at 9.5. Jameson Taillon for New York. James Kaprielian for Oakland. Now, Kaprielian's 3-1 with a 2.51 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. The first place Athletics are currently on a 6-game winning streak, and they also got the W in 8 out of their last 9. Now, they've also been excellent on the road this year, going 18-9 straight up when they travel. Oakland's in the top 3 in fewest walks allowed away from home. They're giving up just 3.6 runs a game as the away team. You changed?
I did.
Do you want to show the Brock Page Nation? She changed. I thought you were rocking the.
She was only rocking it if I rocked the pants, but I didn't rock the pants.
Wow, you look good too. Man, you guys are going to be some You guys are like funeral crashers.
I thought you were going to say funeral crackheads.
Funeral crackheads. No, you guys are both looking good.
Crackheads.
Man, I should have the wife come in and show the goods here real quick. You don't have to. But man, she's looking smoking hot. My goodness.
I'm
That's
can't see.
that's the wife. Oh my goodness, this is a really weird episode. Oh man, this is a really weird show today. The viewers are probably like, just get to the picks. Man, those are the sexiest grievers, mourners at a funeral I've ever seen. My goodness. Okay, what are we talking about here? The Yankees. They lost 3 out of their last 6, and they played just .500 baseball at home against the American League. Now, in addition to losing their last 2 straight at Yankee Stadium, New York is currently in the bottom 5 in home scoring. They put only 3.7 runners a game across the plate. They're also striking out over 9.8 times a game at the plate at home as well. Now, total-wise, New York's 20-13 to the under on their home field, 39-29 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the A's are 16-11 to the under when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Oakland A's plus 1.5 and the under 9.5 runs. Very weird show today. Next game, Blue Jays, Orioles, 7:05 Eastern start time. The Toronto Blue Jays are minus 180, numbers 10. Robbie Ray for Toronto, Bruce Zimmerman for Baltimore. Now, Zimmerman's got a .483 ERA and a 1.47 whip for the O's. The last place Orioles are also in the middle of an 8-game losing streak, and they have the fewest wins in all of the American League. Baltimore's currently 24 games below 500, and they got the W in just 11 of 32 contests at Camden Yards. They're What up?
What up?
Man, we got a lot of action in this podcast today. Dude, you're getting taller, man.
You think?
Yeah, I think you grew a couple inches.
Go.
Yeah. Anyway, Toronto, when it comes to this game here, they play their best baseball on the road. They're in the top 3 in hits allowed away from home as well. The Jays are giving up only 3.5 runs a game as the road team. They also have Robbie Ray on the bump for him here today. 4-2 record with a .345 ERA and a 1.11 whip. The lefties also struck out 92 batters in just over 70 innings of work here. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Toronto's last 7 road games stayed under the number. 23-15 to the under in all of their road games. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Blue Jays minus 180 and the under 10 runs. The joys of recording videos in your living room. You never know what's going to happen. Anyway, next game, Indians-Pirates, 7:05 Eastern Standard Time. The Cleveland Indians are minus 135 on the road with the total at 9. Jean Mejia for the Indians, Chad Kuhl for Pittsburgh. Now, Kuhl's yet to record a win yet this season. He's 0-4 with a .652 ERA and a 1.62 whip. The last place Pirates have the second fewest wins in all of the National League, and they're currently 21 games below 500. Pittsburgh's also on a 10-game losing streak. They scored 3 runs or less 8 times during that span. Pittsburgh's dead last in scoring, bottom 3 in striking batters out at home. They're taking on a Cleveland club who's on a 4-game winning streak themselves, 7-2 straight up in their last 9. This Cleveland pitching staff is in the top 3 in road strikeouts, and they hold their opponents to just 7.4 hits a game when they travel. Jean Mejia, he comes into today's start with a 1.18 whip. And when it comes to the total on this one, Pittsburgh saw 3 out of their last 4 home games stay under the line. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. I'm going to lean toward the Cleveland Indians minus 135 and the under 9 runs. All right, next ball game, Cardinals versus the Braves, 7:20 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Braves are minus 155, totals 9.5. Max Fried for Atlanta, Carlos Martinez for St. Louis. Martinez is just 3-7 thus far in the season, .582 ERA and a 1.25 whip. The Cardinals have lost their last 4 straight road games, dead last in the majors in walks allowed away from home. The St. Louis pitching staff is giving up over 4.8 free passes a game when they travel. They're taking on an Atlanta club who has a winning record against the National League at home. They're also in the top 10 in the league in home scoring. Ronald Acuna is in the top 5 in the majors in homers and OPS. He's hit 18 home runs thus far and has an OPS of 1.003. Freddie Freeman's also hit 16 home runs and knocked in 39. Now, total-wise, Atlanta's 24-13 to the over at Truist Park. Meanwhile, St. Louis is 21-14 to the over when they bat first. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Braves minus 155 and the over 9.5 runs. Next matchup, Twins versus the Rangers, 8:05 East. The Minnesota Twins are minus 165, totals 8.5. Jose Barrios for Minnesota, Mike Foltynewicz for Texas. And as much as I've kind of been hard on him this year, and as terrible as he's been, this might be one of those few games where Folty can pick up a W or at least come close. The Rangers currently have a winning home record against the American League. They're also in the top 10 in fewest walks allowed on their home field. Texas is taking on a last-place Minnesota club who's 14 games below 500, and they're also 15.5 games back of the White Sox for first place in the division. Minnesota's gotten the W in just 13 out of 33 road games. They're also in the bottom 3 in runs allowed, bottom 3 in hits allowed. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's gone 60% to the over in their last 10 ball games, 24-9 to the over as the road team. Meanwhile, the Rangers saw 8 out of their last 10 ball games get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Texas Rangers plus 1.5 and the over 8 runs. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Marlins versus the Cubs, 8:05 East. This game's currently off the board. Zach Davies on the mound for Chicago. No confirmed starter yet for Miami. Now, the last place Marlins are 10 games below 500, and they've really struggled away from their home field. Miami's lost their last 4 straight road games, and they've posted a record of just 13-25 straight up overall for the season when traveling. This Marlins lineup strikes out over 10.1 times a game away from home, and they're averaging under 7.3 hits per contest as the road team as well. They're taking on a first-place Cubbies team who leads the National League in home wins. They're 24-10 straight up in the friendly confines. They're also in the top 10 in fewest hits allowed at home. They give up only 3.3 runs a game at Wrigley Field. Zach Davies is 4-3 with 43 strikeouts thus far in the season. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago Cubs winning this one outright for some money line cash. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Red Sox versus the Royals, 8:10 p.m. Eastern start time. This game is also off the board. Nick Pivetta for the Bo Sox. No starter confirmed yet for Kansas City. The Royals are on a 6-game losing streak, 1-11 straight up in their last dozen. KC currently is 7 games below 500 right now, and they also have a losing record at Kauffman Stadium. Kansas City's in the bottom 10 in runs allowed at home, and they're also giving up over 9.3 hits a game as the home team as well. Now, they're taking on a Boston club who has the second most road wins in all of baseball. The Sox are 22-10 straight up when they travel, top 5 in road strikeouts. This Boston pitching staff is fanning nearly double-digit batters a game when they travel, and they're also in the top 10 in fewest road runs allowed. Nick Pivetta is 6-2 on the season with 80 strikeouts and just over 69 innings. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Boston Red Sox, winning this one outright for some money line cash. You can turn on the AC if you want. I turn off the AC because it gets loud in the videos. You can turn it on if you want. Okay, next game, White Sox versus the Astros, 8:10 East. Both teams are minus 110, pretty much a coin flip here. Totals at 8 flat. Carlos Rodon for Chicago, Luis Garcia for Houston. Garcia's 5-4 in the year with a 2.98 ERA. He's punched out 72 batters in just over 63 innings. He's got an impressive 1.04 whip. Now, the Astros have won their last 4 straight, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. They've also done very well at Minute Maid Park this year, 21-10 straight up against American League competition on their home field. This Houston lineup leads the majors in scoring and hits. Jose Altuve is in the top 10 in the league in homers. He's hit 16 of them thus far in this season. Pretty easy when you know what pitch is coming. Michael Brantley is also second in the majors in batting average. He's hitting 342. They're taking on a Chicago team who's lost 2 out of their last 4, and they scored 3 runs or less 3 times during that stretch. The White Sox are also in the bottom half of the league in walks allowed on the road. When it comes to the total on this one, the White Sox are 60% to the over in their last 10 ball games, 3-1 to the over in their last 4 on the road. Meanwhile, the Astros saw their last 3 straight at Minute Maid Park get over the posted total themselves, 22-14 to the over for the entire season at home. I'm going to lean toward the Houston Astros minus 110 and the over 8 runs. Next ball game, Brewers versus the Rockies, 8:40 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Brewers are minus $2, totals 10.5. Corbin Burns for Milwaukee, Antonio Sensatella for Colorado. But as bad as Colorado's been on the road this year, they've actually been real good at Coors Field. They're 24-14 straight up on their home field. And they successfully cashed in on the run line in 66% of those ball games. Colorado's also in the top 3 in home scoring, and they averaged 9.4 hits a game as the home team. Ryan McMahon's hit 16 homers and knocked in 43. He's in the top 20 in the league in both of those categories. They're taking on a Brewers club who lost their last 4 straight, and they averaged only 1.7 runs a game during that stretch. Now, this Milwaukee lineup is dead last in the majors in hits on average per contest. They're also scoring just 3.9 runs a game, and they're averaging double-digit strikeouts on the road. And, of course, as dominant as Corbin Burns has been this year, I don't know how this happens, but he actually comes into today's start with just a 3-4 record on the season. Just certainly not enough run support for Burns, who's been excellent this year. Now, total-wise, no real surprise here. 3 out of Milwaukee's last 4 road games stayed under the number. They're also 19-12 to the under when they travel for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Colorado Rockies plus 1.5 and the under 10.5 runs. Next ball game, Tigers versus the Angels, 9:38 East. The LA Angels are minus 210 at home, numbers 9 juiced to the over. Alex Cobb for Los Angeles, Jose Urena for Detroit. Now, Urena's 2-6 with a 5.16 ERA and a 1.54 WHIP. The Tigers are officially 11 games below 500, and they got the W in only 14 out of 35 road games. This Tiger lineup strikes out more than any other team on the road. They're fanning nearly 11 times a game when they travel. They're also scoring just 3.8 runs a game. They're taking on an Angels club who won their last 4 straight home games. LA's also gotten the W in 7 out of their last 10, and they're a perfect 7-0 straight up in their last 7 ball games as the favorite. And although they're not known particularly for their pitching, this Los Angeles pitching staff is in the top 10 in the league in striking batters out. Alex Cobb is 4-2 on the year with 52 strikeouts in just over 43 innings. When it comes to the scoring in this one, the Angels went 9-1 to the over in their last 10 ball games, 24-11 to the over on their home field. Meanwhile, Detroit saw 3 out of their last 4 road games get over the line themselves, 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels minus 1.5 and the over 9 runs. Next contest, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus $2, totals 9.5. Trevor Bauer for Los Angeles, Caleb Smith for Arizona. Despite having the worst record in baseball, the D-backs actually have a small glimmer of hope in Caleb Smith here tonight. He comes into today's contest with a 3.61 ERA and 56 strikeouts. The D-backs are also in the top 3 in the majors in hits per contest at home. Eduardo Escobar's hit 15 homers and knocked in 44. The third baseman's actually in the top 20 in the league in both of those categories. Ketel Marte is also batting .347 along with an OPS of .916. And despite their incredibly stupid losing streak right now, Arizona successfully cashed in on the run line in 60% of their home games against the National League. There is a chance. Now they're taking on a Dodger team who's actually done the opposite with regard to the run line. If you want to get any type of value on the Dodgers here today, you're going to have to lay the 1.5 in this ball game. And with that in mind, the Dodgers have successfully cashed in on the run line in only 14 out of 33 road games, and that's good for just 42% in that category. And as good as they are at the plate, this Dodger lineup is in the bottom half of the league in strikeouts at the plate. Total-wise, LA's 13-10 at the over against National League competition on the road. Meanwhile, Arizona's 16-9 to the over against National League competition at Chase Field. I'm going to lean toward the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1.5, keeping this one close, and the over 9.5 runs. Next ball game, Phillies versus the Giants, 9:45 Eastern first pitch. The Giants are minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Johnny Cueto for San Francisco, Vince Velasquez for Philadelphia. Now Vinny's got a 4.25 ERA and a 1.38 WHIP. The Phils lost 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and they've played really poorly away from Citizens Bank Park. Out of Philly's 33 road games, they've gotten the W only a dozen times, and they're scoring just 3.8 runs per contest when they travel. This Phillies pitching staff is also in the bottom 10 in hits allowed on the road. They're taking on a first-place San Francisco club. Gabe Kapler led San Francisco club, who actually won their last 4 straight at home, and they posted a record of 22-9 straight up at Oracle Park. The Giants lead the majors in fewest walks allowed. They're also in the top 3 in fewest hits allowed at home. San Francisco is allowing only 3.6 runs a game. Johnny Cueto comes into his start here today with a 4-3 record as well. When it comes to the number in this one, the Giants are 60% to the under in their last 10 ball games. Phillies 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus $1.25 and the under 8.5. Next game, Reds versus the Padres, 10:10 p.m. East. The San Diego Padres are minus $2, totals 9, juice to the under. Chris Paddock for San Diego, Tony Santillan for Cincinnati. Now, Santillan was called up from minor league ball in his last start. He's got 4 2/3 innings under his belt in the big leagues this year. He comes into today's start with a 1.93 ERA and 5 strikeouts. The Reds have also gotten the W in 7 out of their last 9 ball games, and they rank in the top 5 in the league in road strikeouts. They're also holding their opponents to under 7.3 hits a game when they're away. They're taking on a Padres club who lost 7 out of their last 9 themselves, and they rank in the bottom 10 in the league in home hits. The Pods also failed to cash in on the run line in 6 out of their last 10, and they find themselves with a 4-19 record against the number against the National League at home. Now, Chris Paddock comes into today's game with a 3-5 record and a 4.14 ERA. When it comes to the scoring in this one, San Diego's 21-12 to the under against National League competition at home. I'm going to lean toward the Cincinnati Reds plus 1.5 and the under 9 runs. With that, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Rays versus the Mariners, 10:10 p.m. Eastern start time. The Tampa Bay Rays are minus $1.15, total 7.5. Michael Wacha for Tampa Bay, Yusei Kikuchi for Seattle. And as good as the Cooch's numbers have been, he still comes into this start with a 3-3 record. Seattle's also 1 game below 500 on the season. They're dead last in the majors in hits per contest at home. They're also averaging nearly double-digit strikeouts a game at home as well. Seattle scoring just 3.9 runs per contest. They're taking on a first-place Tampa club who plays their best baseball on the road. They're 24-13 straight up when they travel. First in the league in road scoring. Austin Meadows is in the top 5 in the majors in runs batted in. He's actually got 50 RBI already on the season. He's also hit 15 home runs. Meanwhile, Brandon Lau has hit 12 homers and knocked in 31 as well. When it comes to the total in this one, Tampa's going 70% to the over in their last 10, 26 and 11 to the over on the road. Meanwhile, the Mariners saw 3 out of their last 4 home games get over the line themselves, 70% to the over in their last 10 outings. I'm going to lean toward the Tampa Bay Rays minus 115 and the over 7.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the New York Mets plus 105 under 9 runs. Oakland plus 1.5 under 9.5. Toronto minus 180 under 10 runs. Cleveland minus 135 under 9. Atlanta minus 155 over 9.5. Texas plus 1.5 over 8.5 runs. I'm also leaning toward the Chicago Cubs winning that one outright for some money line cash. I also like the Boston Red Sox winning their game outright for some money line cash as well. I like Houston minus $1.10 over 8 runs. Colorado plus 1.5 under 10.5. I am also leaning toward the LA Angels minus 1.5 over 9 runs. I also like the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1.5 and the over 9.5. San Francisco minus $1.25 under 8.5 runs. Cincinnati plus 1.5 under 9. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 2-0 in our last 2 Major League Baseball tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also 4-1 in our last 5 MLB tier package picks in that very same category. I'm going to lean toward the Tampa Bay Rays minus $1.15 and the over 7.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Also got to thank the special guests here, Mrs. Brock Page, and of course, Cousin Thicc, who, Cousin Thicc, who really the only reason for bringing Cousin Thicc on the show was to criticize her funeral attire, but then she changed into appropriate attire. So, yes, you did. All right. But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.